Hi, my name is Chris Stallings, CEO of CentralReach. I want to welcome everyone to the second annual CR Unite user conference. I'm very excited about the content and programming that we have for you, so let's get started. Before we dive into the content, I do want to take a minute to give several shout outs to the many people and organizations that made this event possible. First and foremost, I want to thank you, our attendees, for taking the time to join us this year. Without you, we wouldn't have a business, let alone a user conference. So thank you for making this all possible. Last year, at our inaugural user conference in Las Vegas, we had almost 250 participants from over 70 different organizations. This year, we've really stepped it up in our second and virtual conference with over 1,200 attendees from 715 different organizations here with us today. Next, I want to thank this year's guest speakers. Steve, Sarah, and Aaron have some amazing content and perspectives to share. And I really appreciate you joining us for this year. And I'd encourage all of our attendees to join their sessions and listen to what they have to share. Additionally, I want to thank our sponsors, Change Healthcare and Paragon Payment Solutions. We couldn't put on an event like this without the support of sponsors like Change and Paragon. So thank you so much for your support. Additionally, if you aren't familiar with what they have to offer, I'd encourage you to go to their virtual booths and learn about the services that they have and that they're providing to CentralReach customers. And finally, I want to thank the uber talented CentralReach team who put together all this great content in this event while also doing their day jobs. We couldn't do this without you. Thanks, team. So with that, I want to dive into the meat of the presentation. I want to start today by talking about the 2020 industry view and how we've managed our way through, as an industry, the pandemic that we've had to deal with. How that's affected the dynamics of the industry overall, and then how all of that has played into any enhancements to the CR platform and vision. So the title of this slide says it all. We certainly have been through a lot. What you see here is the aggregate billings across the CentralReach user base. Those are the red lines, and how that's trended over the first 4 months of this year. Down below that is the services provided by setting, and how those have trended over those first 4 months. And what you see, dramatic decline, as we all felt and know, of 40% from the beginning of this year through the end of April in terms of the billings that flowed through CentralReach users on the platform. You also see a big pivot as services in the traditional settings declined. Services in the non-traditional setting, like telehealth, exploded. 100x increase in telehealth services provided in the month of April, and that's continued throughout the year. At CentralReach, we tried to do what we could to help the industry navigate through this pandemic. We offered our CEU library for free for 60 days and then extended it for another 60 days. And over half of the BCBAs in the industry took advantage of our offering. And based on the feedback that we got, as well as the usage that we saw, really benefited from this offer. We shifted our marketing plan and messaging to focus on telehealth best practices and helping customers kind of understand how to navigate the new waters there, as well as business continuity topics. We worked with clients to help them get through to the other side where and when we could. And ultimately, we continued to invest in our innovation engine, our product and engineering teams, as well as our customer support and customer success to help our customers and make sure that we were there through the downturn, but also to put ourselves in a position to exit the downturn in a stronger position so that we could be an even better partner to our customers as the inevitable rebound occurred. And what we saw is, after April, we started to see an increase, and it proved, what we know as an industry is that we're an extremely resilient industry. The clients that we serve are a resilient base in those families. And, what we were able to do was, after a 40% drop, increase the billings across the platform by 90%. So ultimately, that means a 10 to 12% increase from the pre-pandemic peak as of September of this year. You also saw services grow across all the different settings, with telehealth continuing to play a big role, and we expect that to continue. Telehealth today is about 70 or 80x what it was pre-pandemic. In terms of market dynamics, certainly the crux and the core of the dynamic that we deal with as an industry is that, we have a rapidly growing market in terms of the number of learners that are diagnosed with ASD each year, that still being in the double-digit percentage range. And we have a huge capacity constraint. There's just not enough therapists to be able to work with all the children and the families that need the assistance. So you see the BCBA population growing at double the rate almost of the clients that we serve. In addition to that, as the market matures, we're seeing compliance and regulatory requirements increasing, both in terms of volume and in terms of intensity. And that's increasing the operating complexity that each of you have to deal with in running your business. Things like EVV, the standardization of the reimbursement codes, increasing payer audits, and growing healthcare information exchange participation are all elements of what we're seeing from that perspective. And then finally, and this one is a bit more forward-looking, although we've pulled forward, I would say, the acceleration of this by quite a bit, thanks to the pandemic, is that the combination of outcomes-based reimbursement and the focus there by payers as well as by providers, and the continuing capacity constraints means that the adoption of cost-effective digital tools to supplement in-person services, as we look forward, we think this is going to be a trend that we're going to see more and more of. Telehealth, visits being a good example of that. The number of conversations that we've had with both payers and providers around trying to quantify outcomes based on the inputs and the services that are being provided and connecting those dots has increased dramatically. And to that end, one of the challenges and the reasons that we can't answer that question as directly as we would like is that there's a huge variation in the quality and the application of the curricula and the programming, in the industry today. And that's something that as an industry, we'll continue to need to drive towards, again, not a standardized treatment, but more consistent care so that we can line up the inputs that drove the outcomes through the data in a way that, is frankly challenging today. The good news is technology continues to rapidly evolve more broadly, within the world, but certainly within the platform and what we can expose through Central Reach. So, technology can bridge the gap. It's not going to close the gap. It doesn't make all these problems disappear, but it certainly can help us navigate all these complexities. And so this is a key element of the roadmap that we're providing here at Central Reach. So we talk about the platform, the roadmap, the vision. It starts at the highest level. And this is something we shared last year at our user conference, and it hasn't changed in terms of the vision of where we want to go and what we want to provide for you, which is a complete, secure, end-to-end services and software platform that allows you to provide those superior outcomes that you all desire for the people with autism and related disorders that you serve. So a high-level vision is great, but the key to making it a reality is how you bring it to life through the product. So I want to spend a little bit of time detailing that for you. And then as we talk about where we're going with the roadmap in the future, I think we'll revisit a lot of these topics. So I'll touch on them only at a high level here. So when we think about what CentralReach has to offer, the platform that we provide, it really is bucketed into two key areas. One is a platform to optimize back office practice management, back office processes. And the other element is a platform to facilitate outcomes-based therapy, both the delivery and the measurement. And so, when you look at the back office processes, that incorporates things like the intake process, CRM, how we handle claims and payment processing, the scheduling aspect, all the stuff we're doing on CR Institute, the learning management system, the staff training, the certifications that we were providing. And then for those that don't want to do billing themselves, our BillMax services and allowing you to leverage us to get really positive outcomes on the billing side through the services that we provide. On the clinical side, when we start to think more from an outcomes-based as opposed to clinical data collection, it really expands the footprint of services that the platform needs to incorporate. So certainly data collection is first and foremost, the main aspect of what we're providing, and you see us do a lot on the mobile side to help with data collection on the in-person services. And things like telehealth allow us to provide the virtual care for those that don't either need or want the in-person services. And so that's an area that we'll continue to kind of focus on. But when you back up from that, having a more intuitive, more comprehensive way to provide the assessment data into the platform so that can inform in a more intuitive way the content, programming, and curricula that will then drive the sessions and the plans, treatment plans, for those that we're providing care to. So our CR Elements product is certainly one designed to supplement the content, the programming, the curricula that each of you are already using today. And you'll see more from us in that area. I think you'll see more from us in the assessment area, and then the client portal, the waitlist engagement, those kind of things, you'll also see more from us. One of the areas that we've invested heavily in over the last 24 months is our analytics platform. So the data warehouse, the single source of truth, if you will, across not just the practice management side, but also the clinical side. And that will continue to evolve from just being a repository of the information to a really key business intelligence tool, to ultimately incorporating things like machine learning, benchmarking, data as a service services. And then we'll continue to expand the integrations that we have, whether that's through standardized APIs, specific EDI or integrations with third parties. But this, we know, is an area that is important for our clients, and it's an area that we've been investing in and will continue to invest in. And then when you take that all together and you look at that holistically, then what we want to do is make sure that we're tailoring the solution to every setting where outcomes-based care is being provided. So, make sure it works really well for those providing services in-home, in a clinic or an office setting, in a school setting, et cetera. And so, that again is something that we will focus on as well, is it's not just one size fits all, and we'll continue to kind of refine that as we go forward. So now I want to shift gears and talk a little bit about Central Reach and what 2020, how that's affected us, and the results that we were able to achieve this year. So good news is we've continued to expand and extend our leadership position in the industry. We're now well over 90,000 active users, well over 1,300 active customers, and have been able to grow even through the pandemic. In terms of the way that those customers, I guess the nature of the customers that we have, I think it's helpful to kind of look at that as well. So 1,000 about of our customers have less than 50 employees. So small and very small businesses are a key part of the community that we serve from a client-based standpoint. That, on the flip side, almost 50 of our customers have more than 350 employees, and 20 of those have more than 1,000 employees. So the largest of the large customers in the industry are using Central Reach, as are the smallest of the small. And that certainly has informed and will continue to inform the roadmaps and the product strategy that we have, so that we can serve those two distinct communities of customers in a way that works kind of for both of them. And when you look at the metrics behind kind of all the customers that we have and the scalability of our platform, so 37 million service hours have been performed by clients using Central Reach over the last 12 months. And those 37 million service hours have gone to almost 200,000 active learners across the platform. There have been 22 million transactions billed over the last 12 months as well. And that's accounted for $3 billion of revenue across the base. So the Central Reach user base is the largest across any of the providers in the industry, and certainly has a meaningful impact on the industry overall, and we're proud to be able to serve each and every one of you. So I mentioned this earlier, we did continue to invest throughout 2020. And the goal was, obviously, we wanted to make it through to the other side, just like all of you did. But we wanted to do so to put ourselves in a position, again, not just to support you through that downturn, but also to be a better partner for you as we all emerge on the other side. And this investment theme has been something that we've been employing over the last 3 years in particular. So when you look at the growth in employees, so we had 191 net hires. We're nearly 250 employees strong at this point, and should be well over 300 employees by the end of 2021. One of the things I'm particularly proud of is the amount of investment that we've put toward the areas of product, engineering, and client operations, because that's the guts of what we provide here. And that's what can make the difference, not just in the near term, but it's these kinds of investments that over the long term allow us to continue to not just provide a service that you can use today, but to make sure that we're improving that platform, enhancing it, and in a position to support you as you continue to grow into the future. And so dramatic improvement in terms of the dollars invested in these areas, 350% between 2017 and 2019, and almost another 50% in 2020 despite the pandemic. And just to quantify that number, And again, this is confidential information, but nearly $30 million was spent in just these three areas by us this year to enhance. Does this mean we're perfect? Absolutely not. We know that we've got a lot of work to do. We know we have a lot more investment to do, and we're committed to continuing to do that. But I think the key takeaway here is that we are investing in the business. We do want to make this better. We want to make the product better. We want to make our services better. And we're committed to making the investments from the board all the way down to our individual contributors to make sure that we execute on that over the medium to long term, so that we do continue to grow and provide that platform that you need to grow your business. So what was the results of some of this investment in 2020? Well, there were a number of product innovations, product releases that we were able to provide. So we now are partnered with Change Healthcare and have rolled out the claims processing capability through Change, which is a significant enhancement over what we were able to provide through Office Ally. Our advanced BI tool, which sits on top of our data warehouse, is extremely powerful way for our customers to be able to customize the reporting within CentralReach, in addition to the standardized reports and dashboards that we're already providing today. And then the LMS capability is really a huge step forward from what was provided previously, and will be something that we continue to invest in. On the clinical side, PrecisionX, we rebranded the product, Chartlytics, but made some enhancements, and we'll continue to do that. We added clinical data into the data warehouse, which was something that wasn't available in Redshift or available to our customers previously. We made a big enhancement to CR Mobile, and we have roadmap plans to continue to do that, and we have a session on mobile where we can share those. And then CR Elements, which is our clinical programming offering, Carrie and her team have developed just a phenomenal first step in providing that. Today it's integrated into Thread, and very soon we'll have it in both Learn as well as PrecisionX. And again, this is curricula that you can use to supplement programming and curricula that you're already using today. On the customer experience side, we've made a lot of investments, we've made a lot of changes. And as I mentioned before, we are not where we want to be, but we are committed to moving this ball forward in a positive way and making the experience that you have with us something that gets better and better over time. So on the engagement side, user acceptance testing, pilot programs, and we'll talk about one particular in a minute. We're launching a customer advisory board. We launched a new customer community, and we'll be adding knowledge base and community forums to that to make that much more flexible and powerful. On the success side, we hired a new senior director of customer success, who is just awesome, great background, and I think is going to really allow us to elevate our game when it comes to customer support and success. We restructured the whole team to really zero in on each of the different segments of customers that we have and get you what you need from that perspective. Our virtual Genius booth, providing weekly sessions, has been really well received. And then our CR certification program, really built around best practices of using CentralReach, is something that we think can really be a huge benefit to you and your teams to elevate kind of the CentralReach knowledge within each of our customers, and it's been a big area of focus for us. So security, as we all know, is important to any software business, any business, frankly, today. But in healthcare, it's particularly important. And so this is an area that when Insight came into the business in 2018, when I came into the business, we jointly kind of were focused on making this not just something where we could check the box and say, yes, we have a secure platform, but making this into something that we could truly differentiate our platform and was best in class and frankly an industry leader in this area. And I'm proud to say that we have achieved that and we're well on our way to improving that over time. So, in 2018, we were HIPAA certified, and we started by building out a team around our new CTO and doing a third-party assessment, really getting our arms around, hey, where are the gaps? Where are the things that we need to improve to get to where we want to be? We really started putting a lot of that in place in the second half of 2018. In 2019, we made some additional improvements. We formed our Information Security Steering Committee, ISSC, that really is the core of how we handle security here and how we continue to evolve and improve security going forward. In the second half of 2019, we hired Perry Pappas, our Chief Legal and Compliance Officer. For an organization our size, typically you wouldn't have this role, but this shows you kind of how important we felt it was and how important it was to get the right person. And I think Perry's been able to drive us even faster and further along, as you'll see in a minute. So in the first half of 2020, we started to reap the benefits of all this investment. We recertified on a HIPAA basis. We achieved Trustee Privacy Shield certification. We achieved EU, US, Swiss, US Privacy Shield certification. And really we were compliant with GDPR from that perspective. So we really kind of checked a lot of the boxes that validated that you're using an extremely secure kind of platform. We also met the PIPEDA compliance, so California's privacy laws are also, we also satisfied those. And as you maybe saw more recently, we achieved SOC 2 Type 1 certification in the second half of this year. We're well on our way to getting SOC 2 Type 2, which we plan to get in 2021. We also updated our GDPR compliance as a result. So now I want to move on and talk about some of the acquisitions that we've made. And really our focus on acquisitions is around talent and accelerating our roadmap as opposed to buying market share or those kind of things. So Chartlytics was the first acquisition that we made, which was a clinical tool really focused around digitizing precision teaching and kind of that methodology of ABA. It is now CR Precision X. Bronco Billing was next, and we rebranded to CR BillMax and have expanded that business, and that's our third-party billing solution here within Central Reach. Pathfinder followed in 2019 and has been rebranded and repositioned around the small business market. Precision Acceleration formed the basis of CR Elements, which allowed us to expand the offering around clinical curricula and programming. Is just a great product, and I'm excited for all of you to see that. And then we acquired Thread in the first part of 2020, which is just a phenomenal, easy to use data collection tool geared predominantly for education, but also really is useful in the small business setting and will be a product that you'll see us embed more and more into what we do. And so that's what we had acquired up until most recently. So today I want you to be the first to hear an announcement of our latest acquisition, which we're putting out a press release about today as well, which is Cardical. And Cardical is one that I'm particularly excited about. So many of you have heard me talk about the importance of scheduling and the algorithmic scheduling and how that can increase capacity. CardiCal really provides the IP that underpins this AI-based algorithmic scheduling engine that will be integrating into Central Reach in the coming months. So let's talk about what the impact of something like this can be. We've been doing a proof of concept with 6 of our enterprise clients, and so thank you for all of you who are working with us on that. One of those clients, Caravel, will be sharing their results in a joint presentation that we'll have later during our user conference. And this is some real data that came out of these proof of concepts. So the challenges were, underutilization. So only 50 to 70% of the potential hours that could be billed were being billed by clients, and it varied. And upwards of 40 hours a week or more was spent actually building the schedule, just doing the work to get a schedule built. With the algorithm and employing kind of Matt's IP, the scheduling hours increased by 20%. So it was a pretty big jump in terms of the number of hours that you could bill for the same set of resources. We had a client that achieved 100% of their pre-COVID billing with only 60% of their client base that had come back at that point post-COVID. So, pretty amazing kind of capacity increase and impact. Instead of 40 hours a week, it took seconds to build the schedule. And then even on the cost side, driving costs decreased by 16%. So Cheryl and our team, Andrea and Matt and Aaron will be talking about this in more detail. So I'd encourage you to go and listen to those sessions. But this gives you just a high level view. This can be truly impactful for our base. We're very excited about it, and it's something you're going to see more and more of from us as we go forward. So before I close, I want to share just a really high level roadmap, kind of putting all this together. Where are we going in 2021 and beyond? So this is not what we're committing to deliver in 2021. It's not the near-term roadmap. It's really how we think holistically about the challenges that we're facing as an industry, what our customers are looking for, and then the types of solutions that we want to bring to bear to help you navigate. So when you think about it and you take a step back, right, we're all here to produce superior outcomes. But we need to do it efficiently and profitably. And we need to do it in a scalable way. And so the only way to really achieve both of these goals is through an integrated platform. So it was Charlotte's vision early on. It's something that we've continued to focus on, is an integrated platform for both the practice management and the clinical side of it, because it's really hard to do that if you've got one part in one system and one part in another. And so when you look at our kind of roadmap going forward, where are we going to focus our time and attention? Well, first, we're going to be looking at the intake process, waitlist experience. So you'll see a lot, we'll talk about this later on today, around this, because this is really where it all starts to get people onto the schedule. So we mentioned the scheduling. This will be an area that we focus on. Once you have somebody on the schedule, then you want to create the programming and treatment plan and execute on that, right? So that involves looking at the assessment data, develop kind of based on that assessment data, coming up with your treatment plan and the programming and the curricula that go along with that. Obviously collecting the data in a digital way at point of care, so for in-person services, and then ultimately, providing that same ability to do it in a virtual way, right? So these are all areas that we are investing in and will continue to invest in. And once you've collected the data, provided the service, now you got to process the claims. And this is, the core of what we do, and it's an area that we'll continue to enhance. And for those that don't want to have their own team use CentralReach to provide that kind of positive claims processing outcome, we provide BillMax, billing as a service, where we'll provide that for you. And we're seeing more and more clients take us up on that as they're seeing kind of the impact that, getting to a 97, 98, 99% claims rate can have on cash flow and profitability, and being able to do that in a variable way through BillMax versus your own staff. And then things like staff certification, the professional development that we're providing through CR Institute, elevating the level of all of your staff, certainly is a key to providing increased kind of efficiency and profitability. And then it all comes together by sending all of this data into a single data warehouse that then is accessed either through third-party tools, if that's what you want to do, or through our advanced BI reporting and the standard reporting within CentralReach. And then the cycle starts again. So this is a high-level view of kind of where we're going with the core product. In addition to that, we know, as I mentioned before, providing APIs, third-party integrations is a first-class consideration for us, and it's an area of focus and an area that you're going to see a lot of movement on in the coming years. So I'd encourage you to join Cheryl's Chat with the CPO session, where she'll go into all of what I've talked about and more in much more detail, and you'll get a chance to kind of get the specifics from her. So it should be a really great session. I highly encourage you to join on Wednesday afternoon. I'm also excited to announce the date for our next CR Unite user conference and the location. So it's going to be at the beautiful Marriott Coronado Island Hotel. So for any of you who haven't been there, it's awesome. It's going to be next October, and it will be in person. So hopefully we'll be through the pandemic at that point. I can't wait to meet each and every one of you at our next user conference. So before I sign out, I do want to talk about our next presenter, Dr. Steve Marin, and want to introduce you to him. So Steve started his career at the New York City Department of Health. He's the former Chief Clinical Officer for Centria Autism Services, and currently is CEO of Union in Action, a nonprofit charity whose mission is to enhance the capacity of our systems of care to improve the quality of health of individuals and communities using the principles of integration, collaboration, and orchestration. His topic is behavior analysis, a healthcare discipline. Is pretty provocative one, and I think is going to be just a great talk. We're so excited to have Steve talk with us this year. So I highly encourage you to head on over and listen to Steve speak. And with that, I want to say thank you again for attending this year's CR Unite, and have a great conference.